If you were not here last week, that recording is available. We talked about interactive tools last week, and then this week we're going to talk more about collaboration. And I've already lost one of the things. There we go. My little PowerPoint presenter bar, I lost it, but now it's back. That's one of the tricky things about Zoom is kind of like, how do you arrange things on your desktop to figure out what's best for like presenting things to students. And then you want to have your chat panel open and you want to have your participants panel open and things like that. So those are just some things to think about and to practice ahead of time if you're, you know, before you start your teaching or whatever. But so one of the things are, as we go along, I'll be doing certain things and I'll explain to you why I'm doing them so that whenever you're teaching your own classes, you'll know why I do that. One of the things I always start out with, and I believe everybody should, is just some guidelines, just to let people know. I'm going to mute everybody. There we go. There we go. Some session guidelines to kind of let people know how you want them to participate. And so these are my guidelines for you. Be prepared to participate. We're going to do some cool stuff. We're going to go into breakout rooms and do an activity. And so just be ready for all of that. Keep your microphone muted if you would. And then if you do need to raise your hand after we're done, you can raise your hand and we can take some questions if there's time left at the end. I'll have you use the nonverbal feedback icons that we learned about last week. And if you weren't here, that's going to be fine too. On your Zoom toolbar, you will have a participants button. And so there's my Zoom toolbar and there's my participants button right like that. So yours will be at the bottom of your screen. If you click that, it'll open up this participant panel. So I'm going to move this out of the way. You won't see everything that I see because I'm a host. Uh-oh, can you guys see my, can you see what I'm sharing or no?
I can see it.
You can? Can you see it? Can you see my participant panel?
Oh,
you only see my slide.
I can see the slide.
Okay, yikes. Okay, that's okay.
I see the panel.
Who can see the panel?
Me, Patricia Noon.
We see our own panel.
Yeah, but I want you to see my panel. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Not to worry. I have slides and things to work on that. That's okay. All right, so into another mode. At the bottom of your participants panel, you will have some nonverbal feedback icons. You'll have a blue raised hand, you'll have a green check, a red X, and some other things. And so I'll be asking you throughout the session to say, if you have any questions, give me a red X and type them in chat. If you don't have any questions, give me a green check. And it's just a way for me to check in with you to make sure that you're all caught up and that we're good to move on to the next thing. It's really good when you're teaching, especially if it's something that, you know, it has a bunch of steps. Like I'm a math teacher. And so if I'm teaching them, you know, several steps to solving a certain type of problem, I want to make sure everybody's with me before I move on to the next step, or I'm going to end up losing people. And so I could use that green check to do that. So that's what I'll have you guys do today. And then again, just don't forget to type in chat if you have any questions. I'll pick those up along the way. If we run out of time and I don't answer all the questions, then you can feel free. I'll share my email address at the end and you can send me questions that way. All right, so those are kind of like the session guidelines. These are our objectives for today. We're going to learn about using Zoom tools to promote collaboration during virtual class meetings. All of these things apply to regular meetings too. We're talking about teaching tonight, but all of these strategies also work for, you know, committees and anything like that as well. We're going to talk about applying best practices for using, we're going to talk about private chat, we're going to talk about breakout rooms, and we're going to talk about annotations. And then the last one is just how to choose the best tool for whatever you're trying to accomplish in your instruction. So that's what we're going to look at tonight, and we're going to go through there. Now, if you were here last week, you're going to recognize this person. There she is. She's biting her pencil in half again. If you weren't here last week, this poor girl is watching an online class and she's about to bite her pencil in half because she can't pay attention. Last week, we learned a bunch of strategies to pay attention, to kind of get students to interact and things like that. This week, we're going to move on to collaboration. So now she's totally entertained, but what she wants to know is, I can't learn this by myself. Sometimes our students feel like they're learning, like especially when it's an online class, depending on how it's set up and things like that, they feel like, I don't know about you, I've had this complaint to me before, is whenever a student is frustrated, they'll say, I can't teach this to myself. And I don't want them to feel like that. And so I try to help them. I try to do lots of interactive things, but also whenever we do things to pair them up with their classmates, this is how we can do that. We can use these Zoom tools for collaboration. And so that helps with that a lot. So hopefully after we're done with this, she won't be biting her pencil at all anymore. So just really quickly, we're just going to use the chat for this. If you could just share an experience with me you had collaborating with someone in an educational setting. Like, what were you doing? No trick question here, just any kind of collaborative thing you've done in an educational setting. Turn, pair, and share. That's exactly what I'm doing tonight. Have you guys been peeking on my slides? Breakout rooms, absolutely. We're going to look at that too. Working together to write a statement for a syllabus. Solving problems in pairs. Yeah, and then just the other side of it, like I said, a textbook committee meeting, that kind of stuff. Students offered ideas and feedback for research. Nice. Writing course objectives. Charlotte says, I've been collaborating all sides as I'm a new instructor. Listen to me, my best advice for new instructors, and I guess really new anything, is just be a sponge, right? Ask questions to whoever you run into, because people will give you good feedback, and then you can kind of, you know, see what sticks with you, see what doesn't stick with you, and sooner or later you'll be a pro. You won't even remember not kind of, exactly. You won't even remember kind of not knowing everything. So it'll happen. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. Peer reviews. I love those too. In fact, somebody was telling me as a what they were having students do in breakout rooms. One of the things was doing peer reviews of each other's essays and things like that. So it was like a private, semi-private, you know, in a breakout room way to exchange feedback with somebody else. For a science class, somebody was telling me that they took an article and, you know, one breakout room students did the abstract, and another did the procedures, and another did the explanation, and so forth like that. And then they came back together, and it was a way for them to look at the whole article without everybody having to read every word. So it was sort of a way to ease them into it. So I think that's a great idea too. So thank you guys very much for sharing. Again, I'm going to keep saying this for a while. If you were here last week, you saw this, right? The interaction, the stuff that we learned last week, for the most part, is kind of on the lower level of the Bloom's scale there. Things like remembering and understanding, and maybe listing and describing, all those types of things, we can use interaction to keep our students kind of engaged and things like that. The higher levels of the cognitive scale there, we try and get up there. And so lots of different Zoom tools can actually help us do that using collaboration. So you could have people get in a breakout room and create or write a poem, right? You could have people, I already talked about the evaluating one, you could have people go into breakout rooms to work together on some sort of critique or something like that. And so adding that collaboration using those Zoom tools can make the students feel less alone, which is a great thing. And then the other thing, like I said, is to make sure to hit those higher levels of learning. So we love that. Last week, we did that first set of tools. We did interaction, we did microphones, we talked about sharing your screen, those nonverbal feedback icons, and then chat and polls. And then this week, we're gonna, like I said, concentrate more on collaboration. You can do group chat things, like I asked everybody to put in chat what kind of educational setting did they do some collaboration in. You guys shared that with me. We could also do that with private chat, where two people are just chatting back and forth to each other. And then annotations, we looked at a little bit last week. We're probably going to make it to that again this week. And then also the big showstopper that I love so much is breakout rooms. So that's kind of what's on deck. We're just going to work our way through those things, hopefully picking up some good tips along the way. So Patricia, I don't know the exact address, and so maybe Liz can get us for it, but it's on the blog. Oh, look, Grace already got it. Way to go, Grace. That's what happens when you have good people in the room, like good producers and facilitators. Before I even get to answer a question, the answer is right there in the chat. So you got to love that.
Also, I will say as an aside, when you receive an email with the link to this webinar, it will be that link that'll take you to all of these webinars in the series. So like
Oh,
this
that's
one.
great.
So just so
Great.
you all know.
Excellent. That's great. Okay, so this is kind of the tools we're going to talk about this week. So we have chat, right? We've been using chat. I'm sure you've used chat in other meetings and things like that. We could use chat in a couple different ways. One of them, like I said, is private chat. So you could pair people up to kind of have a private discussion between the two of them. You could just use group chat. Like I said, it could be everybody in one big group like we did right now, or you could put people in breakout rooms so they could have a smaller chat of just 4 or 5 people. So you could do that. As far as annotations go, we talked about those a little bit last week. We can use whiteboards with annotation, and you just share. You do at the bottom of your screen, you click the share button, and then when you share, one of the choices will be a whiteboard, so you can do that. Or the way I like to do it, and again, it is just the way, like your personal preference. I like to set up a PowerPoint slide the way that I like to have it, and then I like to have people annotate on there. So that's another thing you can think about. And then finally, like I said, breakout rooms. Those mimic small group work in the classroom. And so those are just, like I said, invaluable. So we love them. So 2 people already said this, maybe even more than 2. One activity that you can do with private chat is a think, pair, share. And so this is my little think, pair, share screen. We are not going to do this because there's too many of us for us to have time to pair you up. So I'm just going to talk about it, kind of how you can handle it and things like that. And then you'll have that strategy for whenever you're teaching on your own. But the way that you do it is you pose a question that has, multiple answers, things that you can discuss, something that you're working on, sort of brainstorming, whatever it is. You can have them discuss it, 2 people together in one. You want to give them a little bit of time before they even get in a pair to think on their own, just to kind of collect their thoughts and get a few things sort of in mind. Then you want to have them share ideas with a partner after you make that pair. And then after a certain amount of time, I usually just set my little timer. Then you want to bring people back and then ask for volunteers to share their ideas with the class. And so it doesn't really take that long. It is very interactive. You could have a student who would sit and not say anything in your big chat. But if they get paired up with somebody, they're not going to be quiet then. They'll talk to their partner. And so that's another way to sort of get people involved. And so that can be really helpful. One of the ideas that I would do for this session, if it were a little bit smaller, Melissa, what I usually do to pair the students, I will literally look at my my participant panel, and depending on how many there are, I would look at my participant panel and I would go Ariane and Becky. And then I would go Beryl and Bruce and Charlotte and whoever. I would literally just put them in pairs. This would be for a private chat. Not right now, we're not gonna do that, but that is how I would do it. If it's your regular class, right? So your normal students that you have every week, you would have a roster. I would just take that roster and I would just look at it. I would make sure who was here and who was not here. And then I would pair the people that were left over. I like to, like when we present our sessions for faculty and stuff at school, what we'll do is I always will have a producer. And so I'll be doing most of the talking, and then the producer will be doing things in the background and pasting things in chat and links and things, helping with questions and things like that. And so it helps if you have that, because you could have somebody kind of doing that in the background. Yep. Yep. So that's all I do. So I would just, like I said, I would just pair them up, and then I would literally cut and paste the pairs right into chat. And then people would see who they were paired with, and then I would have them actually go talk in their chat. I don't think I have a screenshot of this. No, I don't have a screenshot of this, but I'm going to describe it really well, and you're going to follow along. So if you look at your chat panel right now, and so the last comment on mine was from Melissa. Okay, right below Melissa, you see where you're going to type your own message. You see how you have everyone there with a drop down arrow? I could actually click that drop down, and then I could choose somebody to have a private chat with. So I could choose a person, and then I could, you know, type the message. They would get it, and then hopefully they would chat back to me. And so that's how you do private chat. Then whenever you're done private chatting, you have to remember to hit that drop down arrow again, and then click everyone, or however you want to do it. There is no way to quickly export a list of who is in a meeting until, are you ready for this? After the meeting is over. So it's really not too helpful then. One way that you could get around that is if you required registration. So that's one thing you could do, is require registration. And then that way you would kind of know in advance who was coming. So that's one way. Or if you had a class list, you could do it. Up to about 30 people, I just do on the fly, and it usually works out pretty well. You just kind of have to, you know, remind yourself what you're doing and be a little bit of a quick typer. But other than that, yeah. Yeah. Oh, you don't have private chat? You should have private chat. Does anybody have private chat anywhere? Probably have it turned off. Hold on. Security button. No, I don't have chat turned off. Okay, let me try one more thing. Ah, yes, I do. Okay, sorry about that. There you go. Now try it. Now you'll be able to choose certain people if you want to. Yeah, that was a setting, right. And I can't really show you. So let me show you where those settings are too. And again, you might not have these settings right now because you're the host, but I'll still show you. So on the 3 dots that's at the bottom of the participant at the bottom of the chat panel, sort of like across from where it says everyone, you can click on that and you can set the options for chat. You could have no chat at all. You could have just the hosts. You could have the hosts and everyone publicly, or you could have everyone and privately. And so that's what I had to choose right there. Yes, you can set up groups in advance. Yeah, Debbie, that's probably because you don't have you're not a host right now. If you looked in your own, when you're a host in your meeting, you would be able to see that. You can save the chat from there also, absolutely. So if we shared a bunch of links, or if people shared a bunch of ideas or whatever, and you wanted to capture that, you could actually click click on that, save chat, and then it would open up and you could save that and refer to it later. So you wouldn't lose those ideas. Yep. Yeah, that's because you're not a host right now. So that's okay. It would appear whenever you are whenever you're the host. All right. So the activity that we would do normally is, so we would just do a think, pair, share. I'd say, what is something you're doing in your online class that could be more interactive or more collaborative? So hopefully people would think of a few things, they would talk to a partner about it, and then we could start of sort of making a list of things that people want to make more interactive. Then later on, when we do our breakout room activity, we could use this kind of as a basis to go, and then that can be what we discussed and kind of troubleshoot in that breakout room. So you get the idea. Tom, the host cannot read private chats. That's a common question that we have. So as the host, the only private chats I can see are the ones that are to me. I can't see a private chat that anybody else is doing. Because of that, that makes some people feel not so good about it or whatever. And so some people just turn off private chat. They don't want private chat to happen at all. Yep, you got it. No, you can't be. You can't be in every private chat. If you want to make sure that you can kind of see it. No, that doesn't even work. I was going to say breakout rooms, but that won't work either. Nope. If I save my chat, my private chats will be on what I save. If you save your private chat, or if you save your chats, your private chats will be on what you save. But the regular old chat that is saved at the Zoom website with the recording, it will not have any of the private chats in there. Carl, exactly. You can hop from room to room to make sure people are on task in the breakout rooms. Absolutely. You got it. All right. Well, let's get to the big showstopper then. Let's start talking about breakout rooms and kind of how we set those up. So for breakout rooms, you can use them for lots of different things. Grace, that's really a good idea. You could ask your students to submit their chats for points. That would be a way to work around it. That's a good idea. So you could use breakouts for teams or groups to share content, right? So maybe I have a group project going on in my geography class, and everybody's going to take a different, region or something like that and do some sort of presentation on it. I could use breakout rooms to give them time in class to work together on their project, and then that way they wouldn't, it's a way to give them a private space to talk about their project and not have to have everything happen outside of the class. Again, you can hop from room to room, so you can sort of check on them, which is a great thing also. You can record and pause and then continue on with the same thing. You absolutely can do that. Later on, whenever we send you guys out into breakout rooms, we'll pause, because otherwise it'll just be like 7 minutes kind of in the middle of the meeting with nothing going on. And then we'll just resume whenever you guys come back in. I'm going to actually show you how to set up a breakout room, Virginia, so that's coming up next. Yep. You can use breakout rooms for team competitions. You could use it for like an escape room kind of thing that people would have to come up with a certain answer, and once they were right, they could move out and then move into the next breakout room, which is kind of cool. We actually, some people at Penn State are using individual breakout rooms for test proctoring. So they'll put every single student in a different breakout room. They'll have the student have their camera on and kind of be working on their test. And then the instructor and the TA and whoever else can go from room to room and just check in to make sure, that the breakout, that the students are doing what they're supposed to do. So that's a kind of a neat thing too. I'm not sure about breakout rooms as far as whether you need a paid Zoom account or not. I'm guessing you do. If you can't have polls, I bet you can't have breakout rooms either. I can check that afterwards. If you want to email me, we can talk about that, or I can let you know. But yeah, okay, so Peggy is confirming. Yeah. All right. So just quickly, I'm going to show you how to set breakout rooms up. And so I have my breakout rooms button on the bottom of my toolbar there. You guys can't see my toolbar, so I can't show you live, but it'll still work. It's okay. You probably don't have a breakout room button until I actually create the breakout rooms. And so in a minute, you will be able to see that, but for right now, you can't. So once I click that button, I can go and I get sort of like a window that pops up, and then this is what I see. And so I can actually decide how many breakout rooms I want to have and how many students I want to have in each breakout room. So it'll give me the total number of students. So if I have 50 students and I click and say 2 breakout rooms, it'll immediately say 25 in each. And if I go 3 breakout rooms, they'll go 16 or 17 in each. And then it'll go like that, so I can see how many people will be in each room. I can set up the rooms either manually by hand and sort of click and drag and put people where I want them, or I have a button that does it automatically where Zoom will just kind of do it for me. If you don't have a specific reason for like specific people to be in a certain room, automatically works great. You can just do automatically. They'll go into rooms, out of rooms, and then you can shake them up and go from there. As far as enabling breakout rooms, Patricia, on your Zoom portal at zoom.us, you have to make sure that the breakout room option is enabled. If the breakout room option is enabled, then you'll have that button in your meetings. Again, you'll only have that button when you're a host. You won't have that button whenever you are not a host. And so if that's what you mean by enabling, that's what you have to do there. So anyway, I put my students all in the different rooms that they're going to be up. And then down here, I can actually, this is when the rooms are open, but I can click down here and I can send people to their rooms. Now, I have some options as far as sending them to their rooms. I can send them to their rooms automatically, or I can let them join a breakout room. If I let them join a breakout room, they'll sort of get a pop-up, and then they have to click a button and then go into the breakout room. Depending on the activity, depending on the people, I want them to go automatically. So I'll just click a button and send them out, and they'll go automatically to their breakout room. Once they're in their breakout rooms, there's a button in there, and they can ask for help. And so if you, actually, I have that on my next slide. Let me just show you that. There you go. This is what it looks like inside a breakout room. It looks very similar to a regular room, right? We have it's super similar. The main difference is, or the way that you can tell what's different is, you have an ask for help button. So if you click that when you're in your breakout room, that'll let the host know that you need help. And then the other thing is right here, it'll say breakout room. And so it'll tell you which breakout room you're in. So that's how you tell the difference if you're in a breakout room or you're in a regular room. There's also an option for a timer. So I could set a time that at the end of that time, breakout rooms would automatically close and people would be brought back. That's one way that I can do it. That's totally fine. The other way I can do it is just I can leave people out there, kind of watch my own timer, or maybe as I'm going through and checking in on different rooms, I see how close to done people are. So I can kind of do it that way. Whenever I click the button, I can give them a certain amount of time to get back in to the regular room. And so it usually gives them a little bit of time, and then usually when people see it, it gives them time to wrap up their conversation, and then they can come back in. What else? Okay, I think that's all for now. Let me catch a couple questions and then we'll go back and start talking about things. The timer setting, so whenever, you can't see it because for whatever reason my Zoom windows are not showing. I don't know what happened, that setting is not on, but I can show you some all I can do is show you the screenshots that I have. Yes, it is possible to rename your breakout rooms, and I can show you where you can do that. You can actually schedule people to a certain breakout room ahead of time. So hold on, I'm gonna go to the Zoom portal and just show you what that looks like, just so you'll have an idea. So if you're working with a class or whatever, and you see the same people all the time, you can actually schedule them ahead of time, like I said. And so all you do is you just sort of do a little upload. Hold on till I open my account and bring it over. There we go. All right. Nope, that's not it. 1 second here. I need Jeopardy music for times like this. All right, there we go. All right, let me drag it over. So this is my my browser. This is my student, not student. This is my meetings tab. When you go to zoom.us, you end up on the meetings tab. That's kind of where you land. And then you'll see I have my meetings here. I can choose one of my meetings, or I can schedule a new meeting. So I'm gonna go schedule a new meeting. I just wanna show you where this option is. And so I can put a title up there, a description, a time, and everything like that. But down here's what I want to show you, which is breakout room pre-assign. And so if I click this breakout room pre-assign, you'll see I have a create rooms button. And then I also have a button that lets me import from CSV. And so a CSV file is just a comma separated value file. And it's basically a stripped down Excel file if you use Excel. And so what you do, I'm going to go ahead and click this and just show you what happens. So right up here, I have a template. It says click to download the template. So I can click that. It'll make me save it, and then I'll have to open it. It's really simple. Yeah, and so it just looks like this. So in the first column, I have pre-assigned room name, and then in the second column, I have email address. So if I just put the room names here, and then the email addresses of who I want to go into what room, and then whenever they go into Zoom, they'll get put into the right room. Laura, it does not require users to register. You don't have to register first. As long as you know the email address that people are going to be using when they sign in, you'll be good to go. You'll be good to go. They have, Joellen, they have the ability to share with each other. They can share their screens and share files and things like that, but they can't, that within a breakout room, but they can't share from one to another. Yep. You can require them to use their school account or not. It just depends on how you set your meeting up. That's another one of the options for me. On the meetings tab, let me just show you that. I'm going to cancel this. Another one of the options is right here. Only authenticated users can join. If I click that, I can decide whether I want only Penn State email users to be able to come into my room. So I could say that, yes, that's what I want. Or I can not have that. Either way is fine. That's another one of the things that we did at Penn State to kind of lock things down, to make sure that people that didn't have a school address weren't able to get into classes and kind of, you know, cause any problems or anything like that. Yeah, exactly. You can put the, exactly. If you're just sharing a link, you can put that in an announcement or put it somewhere, email it out, however you wanted to do it. You could do it that way. But as far as setting up breakout rooms in advance, this is where you come to do that. Absolutely. Yep, I just put the email addresses just straight in that second column. Hold on, I tried to grab that. There we go. Yep. So in room 1, I have this person. In room 1, I also have this person. In room 2, I have this person. So however many people you have in your class, you could make the big list. Everybody could be right here. And then you could put whatever room they were assigned to in this to kind of make those groups ahead of time. Yep. All right. Yeah, so somebody's asking a question about recording to the cloud versus recording locally. I always record to the cloud. Sometimes I make a mistake and record to my computer. Video files are pretty big, and so you'll take up a lot of space on your local computer if you don't kind of keep up with that and delete those things. So that's something to think about. Yeah, the other button was create breakout rooms. What you can do is you can create the breakout rooms ahead of time without putting the people in them. Maybe they would be named for different case studies, or maybe they would be named in an anatomy class by different systems of the body or something like that. Yep. I know, Laura, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about and it just depends. I mean, it totally depends on your traffic at the time, on how full your computer is, on what else you're doing on your computer and things like that. But it can take a while if you do it that way. So yes, absolutely. Okay, so this is the student view of a breakout room. That ask for help button is how you know if you're in a breakout room. Hopefully you're just paying attention so you know where you went in there and you're good to go. You can have up to 50 breakout rooms. Now, that might be different on your account, and you need to check that based on, what type of account you have and things like that. But I know in a standard school account, like the one that Penn State provides for us, it's up to 50 breakout rooms. Yep, no problem at all. All right, let me see what else. Yes, Carl says when the student press asks for help, does the host see? Absolutely. I get a little message that says breakout room, whatever. I forget what it exactly says, but basically breakout room, whatever needs help. And so I can just click that message to join and I'll get taken right to that breakout room. Absolutely. All right, so let's do our little activity and then we'll come back together and talk about it. We'll just take a few minutes to do it just to kind of let you experience what breakout rooms are like and so forth, and we'll go from there. You want to make sure that you have a clear plan. One of the things about group work and different things like that that you have to be careful with is sometimes when you put people together, this actually happened to me at a conference recently. We got together in our like little groups. Nobody even knew what we were supposed to do. I feel like we were paying attention, so I don't feel like it was our fault, but you never know. But you just want to be super clear and let students want to know like what they're going to be doing so that hopefully they're paying attention and then they'll be good to go. You can have students do some pre-work. Maybe you assign them a couple of problems to do the night before the class, or maybe you have them write a paragraph about something and then they can do some activity based on that. So have them do a little bit of pre-work. Again, make sure you give them clear instructions. We're going to go into breakout rooms. We're going to discuss something for 5 minutes. The group leader is going to be the person with the longest hair, whatever it is. And so you can kind of make those decisions ahead of time. Then you'll send them into the breakout rooms, and then you want to make sure that you have instructions available for download depending on what the activity is. If it's something that's going to be a little bit, more involved, you want to make sure that they can take the instructions with them. And so what I usually do is I just give a link. And so I'm actually going to do that. I actually forgot to open that, so that's not really very good, but I'm going to find that quickly and show that to you. And so, like I said, you'll just have those instructions ready to go. And so when you get in there, even if you forget what I said, you'll be able to look at those and you'll be good to go. So I'm going to open those. I'm going to share those with you so that you can, oh, that's okay, Peggy. Peggy says she has to leave. Sorry, Peggy, she chatted this to me privately, but I'm going to tell everybody. She has to leave to teach a Zoom class. So there you go. So I hope you learned something, Peggy. Maybe you can come back after and teach us something too. So yeah, so I'm opening up that thing. So anyway, so again, have those instructions ready for download just so in case there's an issue, you know that you can get help or whatever you want to call it. Can't actually find my file. There it is. Need to find my link. Ah, my link's not there. Okay, hold on one second. I'll grab it. You guys have sort of been asking questions along the way. Do you have any more questions while I pull up this file that you can grab? Yes, students can maintain the chat in the breakout rooms, absolutely. You can't send documents to a breakout room, but you can give people documents ahead of time to take to a breakout room. So you do have to do it ahead of time. What I always do, and this helps, what I always do is make sure that I have the documents in a place that all they would need is a link. That's actually what I'm going to do with you guys today, if I can ever get that link. There we go. Goodness gracious. Slow tonight of all nights. All right, there we go. All right, I'm going to put this link in chat for you. And it's just some instructions about what you should do whenever you get in there. All we're going to have you do is make sure that you unmute when you get there. Pick a group leader, hopefully, somebody who's willing to share ideas when you come back out. And then just talk about breakout room activities that you brainstormed before, something that you might want to do. And then if you can think of any challenges to go with that, that would be great also. Laura, if you wanted to do a different option in each room, you could do it a couple different ways. You could put everything in one document and then just have the different rooms go to whatever their certain page is. You could use a collaborative like Google Doc where everybody could type on the same document, again, just on different pages. So there are ways to do that. Maybe you have one document that has all the links in it, and then different rooms would click on a different link based on whatever their room was. So those are some things that you can do, some options there. All right, well, what I am gonna do is I'm gonna set up these breakout rooms and I'm gonna put you out so you can test it out and just kind of see what it's like. I'm sorry you guys can't see my my toolbars and stuff. So I have 80 people here right now, 80 participants. And so I'm going to use my up arrow and I'm going to get these breakout rooms down to about, I don't know, 5 people or 6 people. Let's make it 4 or 5. There we go. And so I'm going to do it automatically because it would take me forever to kind of click and drag and put everybody where I wanted them. And so I'll click create rooms. And so it just gives me a big list of everybody who's assigned to whatever room. And then at the bottom is a button that says open all rooms. So I'm gonna actually just click that. And what's gonna happen is you guys are just gonna be taken out into your breakout rooms. And then you can just discuss a little bit like it shows on that document. Hold on one second, there we go. Dun, dun, dun. Yep, I'm good, okay. So again, I'm gonna click the button, you're gonna go out, and then you might see a message from me in about 3 minutes that says, hey, just checking on you. And I'll also come from room to room if you have any questions or anything. That's okay, Charlotte, you could use the chat in there, just click the chat button, that works as well. Yeah, no problem. All right, I'm gonna click the button, you're going out. All right, so everybody's going into their breakout rooms. I'm just kind of talking while they're filing out. I can see everybody on the screen here. Everybody's sort of getting these green dots whenever they go into that other room. And once everybody is in those other rooms, let me see. One thing you need to do, scroll up to the top and make sure there's nobody that is unassigned. Every once in a while, if somebody comes in late or something like that, I'll have an area up here that says unassigned. So I don't have anybody for that, so I know I'm good. So I'm just gonna leave this here for 1 second. Just gonna kind of move this over. There we go. And I'm gonna set my timer for a few minutes. Hopefully they're having a good discussion out there. And you can see everybody's, look at all these rooms. It's crazy, isn't it? If I wanted to, I could click. So when I hover over, I have a hovering over Jeremy right now. I could click move to, and then I could put him in a different room if I want to. I'm not going to do that because he's not expecting that, but I could if I wanted to, right? I can go down and I can move people around and so forth. I'm just going to leave him where he is. If I want to broadcast a message to everybody, I have this broadcast button down here at the bottom. Let me put it up a little bit higher, you can see it. And so this is what it looks like if I broadcast a message. And then I can just click that and it'll go to all of the rooms. I hope somebody calls me and asks for help because then you'll get to see what that looks like also. So we'll just give it another couple minutes here. Then we'll come back out. Let's see, it's 6:47. Okay, we'll give them another minute or two because I want everybody to see what it looks like also whenever we share. So that'll be good. I'm going to pause for a few minutes and we'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to resume recording now. I'm actually going to bring everybody back in. So what I do is I go over here to these breakout rooms and I'm going to go close all rooms. And what'll happen is you'll see that I have that 59-second countdown. Just going to go ahead and open this up. You'll see that these green dots mean that people are in those breakout rooms. As people start to come back, okay, so right there, that person left that breakout room and is back in our meeting. There you go. And so you'll see as people start to funnel in, lots of people will be in our session here. So we'll wait for people to get back. And I don't know if you can see this or not. I don't think you can, but it has my little countdown at the bottom. If people wait the entire 60 seconds, then everybody will just be pulled in right back all at the same time. So people will just come right in. And then we'll pick up where we left off.
At first, when you use it, it gets better. So,
It does.
Okay.
How about it?
yeah.
That was kind of rude.
I gave you 60 seconds. What are you talking about?
You didn't give us the full 7
We
minutes.
just had great ideas.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I know. I was worried we would run out of time. Like yesterday, we went over, and so I'm sorry about that. All right. So anyway, was it okay? How was it? You could see how students would sort of like it, I bet. And you can kind of hop from room to room a little bit to kind of see what's going on as the host. You can check on people. It's a good idea to have other people to help you. Maybe if you have TAs or if you have just some kind of upper level student, who knows? You could get people to help you that way, and so that works as well. So what we're going to do next, I hope we're going to share those great ideas with me. So I am going to actually show you, well, let me ask you this. Give me raise your hand if you would be willing to share ideas from your group. Okay, Carl is willing to share. So what I'm going to have Carl do, and more than one person can do it. So Carl and Debbie. So here's what you're going to do. And the rest of you, please don't write on the screen yet. I'll give you time in a minute, but let's do it this way because I want to show you how this happens. Oh, Penny. That's okay. Poor Penny. All right. So what we're going to do is at the top of your screen, this is for Carl and Debbie. At the top of your screen, you should see you are viewing Lea Rosenberry's screen. And then right beside that, you should have view options. If you click view options, whoops, I have to enable something first. That's not what I want. If you click view options, hold on one second, you'll have the annotate button. There, you should have the annotate button. So go ahead and grab that. And what I would like you to do is I would like you to choose the text tool. So there's just a T on there. You can click a place on the slide to type and then just cut and paste from that document any of your ideas. And I'm going to keep talking in case other people. So at the top of your screen, you should have a greenish, you are viewing Lea Rosenberry's screen. And then right next to that, you should have view options. If you click on view options, look, there's some stuff coming. I love it. If you click on view options, you'll have annotate, and then you can do. Now watch what I can do as the host and what you'll be able to do as the host. So on the annotation tool as a host, you have a select tool. And so what I can do is I can go over here and I can grab something and I can move it so that everything stays neatly organized so that everybody can see what people are typing. So I love that. That's one way that you can do that. There's another one. So let me put this back up here. There you go. And over here, we have some challenges. Very good. So I can click and drag things as the host. Another thing you can do as the host, you can actually set it up so that you can see who is typing what, which is a good thing, especially if anybody's causing any mischief. So I actually, on my More button, I have show names of annotators. So let me drag something. Somebody else, or go put something more up there. Well, actually, I know. Hold on. I think I can just hover and it'll show the name. Ah, it didn't work. Okay, hold on. More, show names of annotators. Oh yeah, so when I grab it, I can see who typed it. And so Tom put that in, so there's Tom's, and down here it looks like Marina. And so I can just sort of arrange things like this. Writing on a screen is just plain old fun. I don't care how old you are. I told you guys that last week. So we can just sort of rearrange some stuff. You have to be careful depending on the level of the student. You want to make sure that, you know, people aren't crazy and stuff like that. Oh, you know what I forgot to tell you to do? I forgot to tell you to change your font size this week so things would fit. So if you want to change your font size when you are using your text tool, so you choose your text tool and then you'll go to format. And then under format, you can change it to make the font smaller. I don't think that'll work if you've already pasted something on there, but it does work ahead of time. You don't have to buy anything, do you? Oh, look, Deborah's using this nice pointer. I love that one. You could have students use their pointers with their names in them to claim a body part or claim a certain problem that they want to do for homework or something like that. So I love that. All right, so we don't have time to discuss all of this, but let me just show you. Okay, so now you guys are getting crazy. I'm gonna have to turn it off, just saying. But now what this is really good for and what I absolutely love, you can actually go to the annotation menu, and on the end of the annotation menu is save. And so I could actually save this and then share it out with everybody after the class. So that's really a cool thing. Another way you can set these up, hold on, I'm gonna turn this off a second, there we go. Another way you can set the annotations up. So again, I could keep rearranging until we could see everything, you know, like this, everything we wanted to see, and you know, look, somebody made their font little, that's good. So I could make it all nice. I could keep a copy, and then like I said, send it out or save it or whatever like that. I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of that. There we go. And then the other thing I can do, remember I said at the beginning, you can either use a plain old whiteboard or you can set up a slide for people to annotate on. This is what I like, is a slide to annotate on. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to erase all of this. All right, it's all erased now. I'm going to show you another slide, another way to do it. So if you know how many groups you're going to have, instead of just doing a big window like this, you could go ahead and sort of break it up like this. So if I knew I was going to have 6 groups, I could do it. So you can kind of do some things in advance to kind of, what do you call, you know, kind of set it up for whatever your use case is going to be. If you do want to do just a whiteboard and you don't want it to be a PowerPoint, just a plain old whiteboard, all you have to do is click share at the bottom of your Zoom window, and then one of the choices across the top row is whiteboard. Yeah, this is a PowerPoint slide that I'm having you write on. At the very top, you should have, yeah, I can't show it to you though, Paula, I'm sorry. At the very, very top of your screen, it should say you are viewing Lea Rosenberry's screen, and then right next to that, it should say view options. Yeah, okay, really quickly. Somebody wants to learn how to use a TI-84 after my own heart. Best practices for breakout rooms. If you can, have a co-facilitator to help. It just helps to have somebody sort of check in with people and things like that. So that's something to think about. Provide those clear instructions for sure. And then the last thing is make sure there's added value. Don't do it if it's going to be more trouble than it's worth. I promise you, after you do it a couple of times, it is not more trouble than it's worth. But if tech sort of freaks you out sometimes and it makes you worry, then don't do it if you don't want to. But like I said, once everybody gets the hang of it, you'll love it and it'll be fine. Look at you guys going to town over there on the annotations. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up almost right exactly on time. I have to say, I'm quite proud of myself. What am I doing? All right, there we go. All right, I shut them off. Sorry, I had to cut your fun off. Okay, there we go. All right, so here's what you should be able to do. Hopefully you can use Zoom to promote collaboration in your classes. Hopefully you can use private chat if you choose to do that. You don't have to. Breakout rooms, annotations and things. And then also choose the best Zoom tool for what you want to accomplish. Couple more questions just really quick. I turned annotate on and off at the bottom of your window. There is a security button when you're the host. And that is where you can turn annotations on and off. Yep. And then the other thing, and then Maureen is saying, where's the whiteboard? So if I share my screen, one of my choices for sharing is a whiteboard. So I'm just going to share a whiteboard now just to show you what that looks like. And there's my whiteboard. Can you see it? It's just white. And there's some annotations on it.
Nope, can't see it.
Oh, you know why? Because you guys can't see my Zoom windows. Oh, well, it is going to be okay. So thank you so much, everybody.
All right. So wrapping up right at 7 o'clock. Thank you so much, Professor Rosenberry, for coming in here for part 2 session this week. Thank all of you who attended today. If you guys have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our email is marketing@hawkslearning.com. We'll be emailing a link, as we've said, to this webinar to you all along with your participation certificate tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that in your emails. And you'll be able to view this webinar through that link as well as previous webinars at blog.hawkslearning.com. Again, thank you all for coming today. Thank you again, Professor Rosenberry. I hope you all have a great evening.
Thank you, everybody. If you have questions, you can email me as well. It's just Lea, L-E-A, just my name, Lea@psu.edu. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much.